Yo, what's good, everybody? Starkey. It's Thursday, May 22nd. And what do we got going on? It's 2 o'clock Eastern Time here in Starkville. We're going to be listening to a remix. Hey, Angel. Thanks for joining. We're going to be listening to a remix today and breaking down a remix. Thanks to everyone joining live. My album, Vacuum State, is out. It came out on Friday. The past few weeks, we've been breaking down all of the tracks. And yeah, it's gotten a really nice reception, which is great. I've been excited about that. Let me share my screen here. So, the record is out on Android's Dungeon Radio. If you want vinyl, pick it up here. There's also digital, and then wherever you get your music, it's available. If you've missed any of the other live streams, they're all available on Twitch and YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about a Centauri record that I remixed. So Centauri is a producer who's also on Android's Dungeon Radio, and their forthcoming record is called UAP. You can pre-order it now, and you get the title track. But today we're going to talk about my remix of the track Shark. So this is kind of, I guess, a premiere of both. So I'm going to grab the actual master of the original. We're going to listen to that first. So we're going to listen to Shark. You're on vacation in Puerto Rico. That's cool. I'm in rainy Philadelphia. But yeah, the cover of both these records are great. They're both done by the same person. So yeah, really, really killer art. So we're going to listen to the original of Centauri's Shark and give it a listen. I don't know what the volume's going to be. This is a master, so I'm going to pull the volume down. I'll take a look what the levels are looking like. But I've been producing all day, so I was like, oh man, it's 1:50. I got to jump on this stream. So let's listen to the original. So the track is called Shark, and obviously you're going to see why it's called Shark right away. So here we go. Hey, Nicholas from New Jersey, what's up? So we're listening to the original Centauri record called Shark. So now you can see why it's called Shark. So it's, you know, it's a dubstep record, right? It's cool. I'm into the idea that the bass just keeps changing and morphing, right? So, it's pretty typical. Got a breakdown. It's got a second drop. Got to put on my light. A little bit better. I like it. It's kind of like aggressive, but it's like more like a roller, and it's cool. Love that sound. Hey, what's up, Jay? Thanks for joining. All right, so that's the original. You heard it. So here's what I did now. I just had an error with the session playing back. I did play it earlier today, and then I've been working for like the past 3 hours. And so I opened it again, and it was messed up. Something didn't load properly. These plugins, I don't know. They're strange. But anyways, I hope this plays. So we're going to listen to the entire record first, and then I'll break it down and talk to you about it. All right, so here we go. Now my record gets stupid loud right away, so I'm going to keep it quiet for a second. Yo, what's up, Centauri? Joining the chat. We just played your original, and now we're just listening to the remix. So thanks for joining. People in the chat saying sup. Seekdub said sup. Ephemeral Empire said epic. Cool, thank you. And the sonic spaces create tension, and the drone to fill adds a ton of emotion and keeps the tension. That's what Smooth J. What's up? Thanks. Yeah. So and thanks for the kind words, everybody. Yeah. So Young Gang. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it, everybody. So, all right. So this is the remix. It sounds a lot like a lot of. I mean, it's different, obviously, because it's based off of the original record, which obviously is a stripped back, rolly dubstep record that is, obviously really cool in what it does. And the hook is that dun 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 dun, right? But like we know that. So what I did is I kept some of the original Foley sound design bird sounds from the opener at the beginning and just made it so that there's like really no like drop, in a sense of like there's no preparation for a DJ to play this record. You just kind of have to either like start it from ambient or you have to play it from the downbeat, and everything is always shifted over a couple beats too. So as you can see, like measure 19 is where the beat technically drops, and the phrase ends at measure 49, so you get an even number of bars, but the beat doesn't actually feel like it starts until you get that whoa 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 part happening. So like when the beat drops, it's like, like you lose, you're not sure where the downbeat is, which is also something I had fun with this record. So again, the opening is based off of that bass line, and then I just added elements to it. And I also bypassed or muted the bus. So you can see these are the different elements from the original bass, and I'll play those. So I'm basically using mutes to create that rhythm, that slightly different rhythm. And basically these are the original. I just processed them a little bit, right? There's a little bit of a delay because of the way that it aligns with the bass that I created. I needed a 60 sample delay on the bass so the basses would work almost like in phase together. And after that, there's some EQ. It's pretty aggressive in the mid-range, or the lower mids, because my bass sound is very aggressive there. So we're just kind of like sculpting out that area. I've got a sidechain compression going on. I tend to use Pro C2 for that. But I'm basically, you'll see here, I am sidechaining it with the other bass. So the two are playing off of each other, so that when the other bass hits, which we'll look at in a second, they like play with each other. So again, like let's go here to the what I call wild bass. So this wild bass is the dive bomb bass, right? And it's just that big hit. So it acts like a kick drum as well, but it's like filling in the space. So when that hits, so I have it muted, right, during the parts where I don't want it. But then there's also this kind of false rhythm that happens here. And because of the tails of some of the synths, I didn't want it to overlap. So that's why I have this sidechain compression going on. And it's being sidechained hard from the wild bass. So let's take a look at that. You can see it's being totally ripped back whenever this bass hit happens. Now I'm using Shapeshifter as like an OTT, so upwards and downwards compression at the same time. And so that's like helping to basically just completely smash the dynamics of that bass part. And then I'm using the Wolf compressor to basically just compress this even more. So let's start like peeling away these elements. So this is the original bass. Obviously the original bass sounds great in the record, in the tune, but the way I was treating it here, I was trying to get it to be a little bit more. Hear that? I'm also boosting the top end and tone controlling it up so it's a little bit more present. And then using the Wolf compressor, which is like basically a hardcore. It's reminiscent of the Boss drum machines, samplers, and that's what they modeled it off of, the SP303, if I remember correctly. And so this is adding just this smash of dynamics. Then I'm using Filter Freak to add a little bit of motion. So we're, hear the difference? It's very like tight and clean. It's got a woo like sound going on, that ringing, which is kind of what I wanted. And then I've got a limiter just to control the dynamics. And then I've got another sidechain, and this one is from the snare. So I've got the sidechain from the bass earlier, doing the processing I want to get the tone I want, and then I've got a sidechain from the snare. So when the snare hits, that bass pops out. It's all about those rhythmic changes that are happening between these elements in the record. So if I play the bass and the bass together, and let's listen to the snare bus. Here. Right there, when the snare hits on the end of 21, on the end of 18, it's just like, boom, right? It pulls it back. So that's, the snare is just being made up of a couple, there's a clank hit. I use this snare all the time. I'm just processing it. Stupid. It's dumb. Like what I'm doing doesn't make any sense, right? Like it's just to make it distorted and weird. Like if we listen to it on its own, right, it's that sample. So limit, distort, using the sausage fattener. Why not, right? Then I'm using micro shift to give it some width, some stereo-ness. And then I have a Pro Q afterwards, just to like tame a little bit, and that's it. Then this snare is from the 7 Deadly Snares plugin by Beat Surfing, which is a really, really cool plugin. If you've never used it, you can basically get claps and snares, and it's all synthesized stuff. I don't want to mess with it because I'll screw it up, but definitely check this plugin out. It's really cool. I love the randomization too. If you haven't noticed, like I don't like grabbing for certain things unless it's a specific sound I want, like a clank snare or, you know, an amen break or something like that. Then I'm like grabbing for that thing. But other than that, I just want to throw stuff at the record and see what sits. Yeah. What's up, DJ Scene? Thanks for joining. Thanks for jumping into the live stream. We're just talking about this remix I did for Centauri, and Centauri's in the chat too. So really cool. So that's that. We've got a whole bunch of broken up breaks. So let's look at these. So that's being played in Momentum. Momentum 2 came out. I have not downloaded it yet. I don't know if you guys seen the marketing. I've been pushing Momentum as a cool thing, right? But I'm not sure. It might not be cool anymore. Because am I going to be able to find this? Did you guys see that they now want you to subscribe to their sample library? And also, it says that you can load your own samples with a pro account. It's a little fishy. So I'm scared. Here, load your own samples. Check this out, right? Drag and drop any WAV or AFF file into the plugin and use the power of Momentum to create something new. Now, all right, that's a sentence, right? And then it says, and with a Momentum Pro subscription, you can now use MP3 files. So I read it first like you can add MP3s if you have a Momentum Pro subscription. But then I read it again, and I was like, are they just saying that they also have added the ability to use MP3s, and you can no longer load WAV or AFF files without the Momentum Pro subscription? if anyone knows the answer to this, please let me know, because I'm scared to update until I have an answer to this question. So, anyways, Momentum was a free sampler. Now it's version 2. We don't know. It's still kind of free, but I'm using it to chop up the break here. I usually use Serato sample, or I use Momentum. Ephemeral Empire said Momentum 2 is out. Yeah, it came out like last week. This is it. It's version 2.0, right? But again, they have now like they want you to subscribe to their sample libraries and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So I just don't know. I don't want I'm scared to update. So I might update on like a laptop or something. But anyways, I don't have any other libraries. I'm just using it to load samples. So there's my my break. I'm just using some Wolf compressor to smash it, and then my go-to clipper is the Clipped Max, almost always for drums. Just smashing the dynamics out of this so it has nothing. And there's another break here too. I'm just using a vocal sample from it. And that's running through stupid things. I probably had that unfiltered audio basement on there just because I at one point was using the break, but now it's just a vocal thing. The filter station. Why'd I use the AMEC 9099? I don't know. Just because. Why not? Right? Like, it's one of those things where I just grab things sometimes. I also probably was like, oh, let me use the Brainworks 2098 too. And it doesn't really need this stuff, but it did what I needed it to do at the time. Alright, so there's also this main bass. And this is being created by Kick 2. Kick 3 is also out. I don't have it yet. I might get it, but this is basically, I'm just using a bass tone that I've created here in Kick 2. I started with a preset and then manipulated it to get this sub control. Yo, if a free plugin, kind of cool. Last day to get it. Space Blender. Yeah. Jay, you can post it. I have used it once on a tune the other day, actually. I was mixing for someone else. It's pretty cool. Yeah, feel free to share it. Sound Toys makes cool stuff. I only use I use Filter Freak on this record. I use Decapitator a lot. You can hear this is also going through a reverb. So that's, because it's just the top end. So normally you don't want to put bass or reverbs, but you can hear here. So it's just the top end. And I'm using the Adverb I started with a preset called Underwater. And this is just to help give it a little bit more space. I don't even know if you really notice it in the mix because there's so much going on. But hey, it's there. Kick. That's just a sub kick to layer in there, just to have something that's like really neat. Another cool thing I have going on here is I'm using another beat surfing plugin called Random. If you guys haven't seen this before, it's pretty cool. They do a lot of aggressive marketing on like YouTube and stuff for these plugins. So on Instagram too. But it's a pretty cool synthesizer. I have all their stuff. I think it's all really fun to use as like little elements in the production. So here I've got this synth patch. It's all a lot of randomized, like grabbing things. You don't exactly know what you're doing. I mean, obviously all of these knobs sound like they do something, appropriate when you're mixing and messing with things. And you can sort of learn, but this is an XY pad that you can drag around and you'll completely change the sound. If I touch this now, it's never going to sound like this again. So, it's just one of those things that you're just like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I've got some EQ. I was using Pro Q3 I probably made this like right before Pro Q4 came out. I'm using the space station, the Audiarity space station. This is an emulation of the hardware. It's really cool. I love this plugin. I use it a lot for vocals on reverbs as well. It's not very popular, I don't think. I don't think a lot of people are like talking about this as a reverb or delay unit, but it's a really fun analog emulation, right? It's digital, but it's emulated from the hardware, and basically it's a multi-tap reverb delay, and you have two different modes here for basically the presets, or what they call the programs, and then you work off of that with your with the sound design. There is an auto ducking feature as well, and then also like an analog age button knob, which is really cool, which adds. So let's listen. So without it. So you can hear just using this for my reverb. And then I used the internal Logic compressor. Why not, right? With some limiting. Just to make that really nice and loud and in your face. I've got another random synth here. What's this one doing? So that's that lead thing. So what's it sound like with all the plugins off? Here it's just, it's distorted. It's kind of crispy. It's just a little sound, but then I've got it going through some EQ. I'm using the Eventide SP 2016. This is also an emulation of the hardware, but it's a digital reverb and it's a digital plugin, so it's you know, it's kind of, it's different. There are some different settings, but this is a really cool reverb. One of my favorites, actually, because you can move the position of the person in the fake room, so you can like move it closer or further away, and that adds just what we would maybe like say like it's like an EQ change, right? So instead of like having the reverb be in your face, it moves back into the space a little bit, which is different than like the decay time or the mix. It changes the psychoacoustic vibe of what's happening, which I think is really cool. So I play around with that a lot. Then I've got it going through an LA2A to compress it. Actually, no, I'm using the LA3A. I never use this plugin, so I probably was like, let's use it. That's like no joke, that's why. And then I had a delay on it. I'm using the sample delay just to offset instead of actually moving the MIDI manually, I'm using the sample delay to move it back. And this had to do with the groove, right? Again, the groove of some of these things and the processing I'm doing, just getting it to sit in the pocket a little bit better of where I wanted it in the track. So let's listen to that again. And then there's another drum break here, right? A little fill. It's kind of a repeat. And this is where it changes. It gets a little bit more aggressive, right? So we have that big drum fill. So that's right here. It's called mean break. And this is a break that's just in Serato sample. That's what it sounds like. Basement to fill out the bottom end. This is probably copied over from the other stuff. Yeah, it's just a filter station, but I really abused the top end there. And I'm using the clipper to really add distortion. Like, clipping is distortion. It's not the same as limiting, but I'm using it to add distortion here too. So we get these hi-hats, and these are being created by Random Metal, which is their like drum machine version of Random that came out after Random. I forget exactly when. A couple people are posting things in the chat. I gotta not ignore it. Hey, what's up, Gast? Finally awake for one of these. What's up? Thanks for joining. Yeah, yo, if you haven't heard, right? Harm Gas remix on my record Vacuum State out now, right? In the chat. Haven't used Logic since college. Yeah. I like Logic. Sorry. I see Pro Tools on your dock. Do you use it as much as Logic? The answer is no. 100% no. I also have Reaper in my dock. I have DSP Quattro in my dock. I have Reason 11 and 12 in my dock. I hate Pro Tools. I use it when I have to use it. So if I'm working on a mix for a client, or I'm in a studio and they have Pro Tools, like, if I'm in a studio in London and I'm recording someone vocals and they have Pro Tools, I use Pro Tools, but I don't like it. Ableton, I also have Ableton. I think I have 11 or 12 installed here. Yeah, 12. I do like Ableton. I just don't prefer. I prefer to work in Logic when I'm mixing and produce. No, apologize. I've never owned a Mac and got Logic and Pro Tools certified for my courses. Yeah, in school. You got to talk. A few of the people in the chat are actually like people who are at Community College of Philadelphia or were at Community College of Philadelphia, and we started with Logic there as well. They used to do GarageBand actually early on, like early days of GarageBand as like a first intro DAW, and it's cool to do that. But Logic is, I don't know, pretty user friendly, I think. But yeah, I whenever I'm like making my own records, I don't even think about opening another DAW. I just open Logic. I don't know. I've used Cubase before for like on another project. I had to use it at a studio. I've used Nuendo one time. I started on FL Studio, but when it was still Free Loops, back like when I was, 18 years old, 1999, really old. But I just use Logic. I've been using Logic since version 5 when it was still eMagic Logic. I went to school in London and they had at the studio everyone was using Logic, and so I learned it while I was there. So that's basically why. Acid 4. Yeah, I had Acid 1, 2, 3, and 4 Gas. So yeah. I also like Reason a lot. I just hate their authorization system. Ever since Reason 12, they basically made it so that you can't have multiple users accessing Reason, the license in a lab setting. So we don't teach it at the college anymore. We used to have it at the college and it just doesn't work anymore. So it's really, really frustrating, actually. So I don't use it nearly as much. But I do like Reason a lot. I had Reason version 1. I have the disc somewhere here. I have Ableton Live version 1 too somewhere. Anyways, well, hopefully I answered your question. But yeah, I do still like it. I also have Serato Studio. They gave it to me a number of years ago. I've played around with it. It's kind of fun. Serato sample is incredible. So it's basically like having a whole boatload of Serato samples in a DAW. But it's great for sketching tunes, especially if you're into like, if you use Serato and you're used to like its look. Serato Studio is really cool. All right, let's keep this going here. So there's a lot of automation here. Just to change up the sound so it's not static. And we also have that new woo 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 woo, that new pitched element. So where is that? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, it's called Bass Extra. Here it is. And I'm using Sublab XL to do this. So what am I doing here? Interesting. I don't know why I did this. Added a little bit of width on the bottom end. It's very strange. I wonder why I did that. Maybe because everything else is so mono. And this is not really too dark. Yeah, because I was high passing it anyways. You never want the sub bass to be stereo, even especially if you're cutting vinyl, which this was cut to vinyl. So you don't want it to be stereo. So it's okay to add a little bit of width if you're going to roll it off. And I'm just using Decapitator to add that extra grit. So let's listen to it without Decapitator. Come on. Oh, whoops. Yeah, it's just a little overdrive. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Looking at the chat quick. For editing field recordings, chopping samples sometimes. Ableton to arrange sometimes because it's more fun. But Logic is GOAT. Yeah, that's bizarre. All right. I'm not sure. Yeah. So there's these synths that start coming in, and risers, and let me just make sure my MIDI is going to play all the time. Chase, yeah, it's on. Okay, cool. So we have these three synths. We have Cult. I don't know if you guys know Cult. It's a Dawson plugin. This guy makes great stuff. And I think it's just literally this one guy, but he's on YouTube and like he does all the videos and stuff. But his stuff is really, really cool. There's another one that's good as well. He makes a free. There's a free one. It's called Zyklop. I think you should get it. Yeah, Zyklop. This is free. I highly recommend you download it. Is it still free? So it's a one oscillator version of their plugin called Myth, which Myth looks really cool. I just don't own it. But yeah, this is a totally free synth. Myth is like $200 or something. Oh, look at that, $107 on sale. Myth looks really cool too. So what it does is it resynthesizes your samples. This doesn't do that. This is just two synthesizers with like interesting synth waveforms. So I'm starting with this, and we've got some automation to the volume. I'm also automating the cutoff of the filter. So let's hear what this starts to sound like. This is kind of doing the top end. And all that distortion is there. It's intentional. It's in the track. So some AM and FM synthesis going on here. That's what's creating that distortion. So I started with an init, and then just built this synthesizer. Right, so it all kind of crescendos up. The next synth, I would probably say this is the main one at the beginning, is the Poly KB3. This is an emulation of the hardware from Zill's Lab. And I've mentioned this before. I really like the software version. We have a hardware version at Community College of Philadelphia, but it's mono. That's the only thing I don't like about it. It's obviously based off of the real one, and so they kept it mono. I like the stereo stuff you can do with this plugin though, with this space. This isn't in the original. They've added this, so I just like the voices and the space. But it's a really cool synth. Gas was asked, have you used that technique before? Widening the low, then cutting it. Yeah, so that one, that sound is just like, it's really kind of being used for the lower mid-range, because the sub bass is still there. So all I did was just widen it, make it wider to give it some width, and then use the high pass filter to build into that. So you're like widening a wider range of frequencies and then pushing it up so that nothing is fighting, right? The whole point is to make sure that those bass tones don't fight each other, because the worst thing that you can have is two bass frequencies fighting each other, and then your speakers are trying to fight to reproduce those sounds. So this Poly KB3, I almost guarantee you I use an init patch. I always use an init patch. Yeah, I always build this synth from scratch because I'm used to using the hardware. So I just start with an init patch and build a sound that I like. And then I'm layering it. So do you hear how each one is kind of doing a different frequency band? So the Colt is the top end, Poly KB's in the middle, and the CS80 is doing the bottom end. And this is just the Arturia. I don't have the V4 yet. This is still the V3. So they're all being layered together. And it's this same MIDI, almost. Not exactly. I love that detuning, right? Just kind of going in and out. And then I start to bring in and that's just a serum patch. So right when the beat comes back in is where you get that extra layer. Goes up a half step. And there's another weird sample thing that's creating pitch here, which is just a sample from, this is like some old London pirate radio adverts from like the 90s and late 80s. Clyde gave me this library when we were working on that EP a couple years ago, because he was using it and stuff. And so I just looped this little thing. So that's also, hear that on top? Here, I love that kind of building up. So I'm a huge fan, and I've been saying this as if you've been watching any of these other walkthroughs, I'm a big fan of things that sound mean and then become beautiful, like become pretty, right? So to me, this is really pretty, but the track, everything else is kind of mean, right? So I love that. Like, I love the idea that, oh wait, wait on. Is this the same thing I was listening to? It was like all hard and mean, and like if you're listening to this in a club, you're like, yeah, and then it's like, wait, this is kind of pretty. You know, I love that duality. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm a huge fan of that, and I've been doing that forever. So if you listen to like a lot of my records, it'll have that idea where there's like this pretty thing that happens or comes out of it, that you're just like, oh, okay. Equinox does that on the Vacuum State record, right? So there's like the main drop, and then then it gets really melodic and pretty, and there's a chord progression there, right? Like I love that kind of stuff. Same. Used to do that all the time, still do occasionally. Gas saying, that same technique, yeah. So I love that. So let's listen to this as we go in here. So it's basically the same drop beat-wise. There's a few different elements. We're bringing in the hi-hats a little bit earlier. But I don't have this main bass. So that's not in there, right? Because it can't be. Like, that would just, if you had that in there, it would completely fight with these big synths, because they are occupying a pretty wide frequency range. So I love that like dub break there. There's that little, there's that little voice. And that's just I threw it onto a Logic sampler, and then I've got the TC Electronic DVR 250 as the classic digital reverbs on this. Using this for the reverb, so it's by itself without it. All right, just a little bit of verb, just to add a little bit of decay. You'll hear here, I went back to the other bass part. So the main bass part here is also different, right? This might have been edited, I can't remember, but the bass part changes, right? So in the original song, and just adds a different texture because you don't have that honkiness anymore, right? It's smoother. Like that. And then it's just a filter. Right, just filters and volume automation. It's usually better to ride a filter, automate filter over volume. It just sounds better.
Motion detected at the doorbell.
Gas said, in context, it sounds like a giggle. Yeah, it does. It's like weird. And then I just let it kind of die away, the sustain. So that's the tune.
Motion detected at the doorbell.
Somebody's at my doorbell. So that's the track. It's hopefully you enjoyed the little breakdown. It is out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, June 6th. What's that? 2 weeks? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You can pre-order the vinyl if you want. Here, you can pre-order digital as well. You can get the UAP track right now if you want. There are 5 originals, 2 collabs, including from the 5 originals, and then my remix on here. I will also mention this again, June 13th, 2025. If you want to come out to the Black Box in Denver, we're gonna have like a record release party. I got some new tunes to play. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you're in the Denver area, you should come out. It's gonna be fun. Squirrels or bunnies. That sound? Does that sound like is that what you're talking about? Does it sound like a bunny? Like an animation bunny, maybe. A ring. Oh, the motion detected. That's my blink or whatever it is. Yeah. Centauri, I'll be there. Sweet. That's right. You're in Denver, aren't you? Or at least nearby. Cool. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm gonna be in town for like 2 days, so definitely let's link up. You put posters up everywhere. Yeah, let's hope that people come out. It should be fun. I haven't played in Denver in like, 7 years, something like that. Everything with COVID is a blur. It's like, I used to play in Denver all the time. And then, then COVID happened and it was just like, I wasn't in a rush to go out and play shows after COVID either because, just because, it was chaotic. And also, my son, has like a little bit of a thing. So we were like, I don't want to get COVID and give it to my son, so I didn't really jump. I wasn't like quick to like try and jump on planes and fly around. Sit down shows at Black Box were definitely depressing. Oh, I don't know if I'd want to go to that. Sit down shows. Jeez. All right, well, that was the breakdown for today. You played one? I don't know. You haven't seen me play music since 2015. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna probably play a lot of my own tunes. The last set I did, I also played a lot of my own tunes. It's fun. It's fun to do that, and I've got a lot of records, so I'll definitely sprinkle in other things. But I'm gonna probably play a lot of my own records. I've got a lot of new things too, new-ish things, unheard things, and it should be cool. When am I New York bound? Ephemeral Empires asks. I don't have any shows in New York right now. If you know promoters who are interested, have them hit us up. My on the sly is my agent, so they can just hit me up. Hit them up right there. But yeah, I was like doing this like you guys could see it. I'm sorry. That's my agent, so on the slide. Right there. They can, if you know promoters, tell them to give a shout. I'm down. I can drive to New York. I'm so close. I'm like an hour and a half from New York, so cool. I have some friends in Pittsburgh, so I'll be out there eventually one way or another. Yeah, Pittsburgh is kind of far from me, to be honest. Like a lot of people don't realize how big Pennsylvania is, but like to get to Pittsburgh, you have to drive is like 6 hours or so from where I am. Not to say you can't do it. I've driven to Penn State before, and that's pretty far as well. But yeah, I know a lot of people out in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's cool. When I fly there, it's like a 30-minute, it's like a 40-minute flight or something like that. It's super short. But driving is kind of a pain. Gotta be honest. All right. This has been fun. I'm going to do more. I just don't know what the next record is going to be yet. I will post it up on the socials when I know. And hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. It's, I think, still raining here. They already canceled my daughter's softball game and my son's baseball game for tonight, so I don't have to go sit out in the rain for baseball and softball. Yeah, thanks Centauri. Thanks for letting me do this remix too. It was a lot of fun. I love the original, and I just kind of flipped it to give it my own spin, and it was fun. I'm looking forward to the record too. Barbecue weather here, but gonna rain this afternoon, Gas says. Nice. Yeah, right now it's gross. It's cold. I'm wearing a sweater, and then it's been raining pretty much nonstop for like 5 days. Yeah, see you guys. Take care. Have a good one.